Hello, it is I, the biggest and greatest president in the history of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Today, I come to address you poor, uncultured denizens of my sycophantic regime. I don't know what any of those words mean, but I have one hell of a speechwriter. He's huge, bigger than Jeb Bush's Oedipus complex. Sad, so sad, little Jeb Bush, so sad. But enough about my previous conquests. Today, I want to talk with you, the American people, about Russia, China, and that little rocket man in charge of North Korea. The Honorable President Putin has invited me to his personal villa to enjoy a backwoods judo competition. While there, I promise each and every one of you that I will fulfill my role as chief diplomat. And I also promise that I won't make any advances on Putt-Putt's wife, okay? I promise. Not good, very bad, unbecoming of a president. Also, on my Asian tour, I had the privilege of meeting with President Xi Jinping of China. It was very great and big to tour the land and meet these peoples. I was also quite impressive, and let me tell you, they were quite impressed by a certain part of my anatomy, okay? Certain part, very impressive. The nuclear threat from North Korea is constantly rising. Nukes are bad, not good, very, very bad. But we have a plan. It involves demoralizing the very bad dictator Kim Jong-un. Very, very small, scared little boy. But first, he has to follow me on Twitter. I don't know why he hasn't. I'm the leader of the free world. It's absolutely insane. And with this, we should secure re-election for Mike Pence in 2020. With that being said, I'd like to thank the American people for being here, and my wife Melania, who is not with us currently, because my appearance disturbs her. Thank you.
Everyone, welcome to MT at Night. I'm your host, Jayana Scurry. Yes. In recent news, over the pond over there in England, Prince Harry recently got engaged to Suits actress Meghan Markle, which means we're about 3 years away from babies replacing corgis as the royal tripping hazard. Well, in other news, over there in North Korea, they recently tested a missile capable of hitting the eastern United States, including Washington, D.C. That's fine. I prefer Mar-a-Lago anyway, said one man. Yeah, we all know you do. In other news, a new report by CNN suggests that Trump is planning to replace Secretary of State Rex Tillerson by publicly humiliating him. It feels like Trump is trying to rid the White House of adults in the most convoluted way possible. An unsupervised blonde with too many resources trying to torture the adults in his life? I wonder where he got that idea.
Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Down the hall and to the left.
Thanks.
No, we didn't.
Anyways. Matt Lauer. This was surprising news here. He was recently fired from NBC for sexual harassment, a fact that came as no surprise to anyone who's even been to a Matt Lauer costume party. I mean, have you seen those costumes? They're just ridiculous. The news of Lauer's firing was followed shortly by a Donald Trump tweet in a classic case of the pot calling the kettle a sexual predator. Oh goodness, now let's keep it local here. Here at MTSU, there's a clip of students throwing a party in the KUC and it has gone viral. At least that's what it looks like at first glance, but here at MT at Night, we discovered an extended cut of the video, and things look a little different.
The Chick-fil-A line is actually empty today. What the hell?
great show for you tonight. We have a student here performing. His name is Brendon Donoho. Yes. Followed by some more skits, and we'll be right back.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. But give idle hands a place to go, a purpose, and they're capable of amazing things.
All right, hello, and welcome back to Raising Redhead. As you can see, I'm enjoying this cool breeze and scorching sunlight on this secluded beach resort. But thanks to technology, I can be wherever I want. In a volcano, in a playground, on a roof, in Japan, in France. It's just that easy. And boom, we're right back to my bunker. All right, parents, my reticle is aimed at you this time. That's right, you heard me, I'm going to talk about parents. Full disclaimer here, I don't care what you do with your kids, just take some advice from me. Now, I may not have kids, but I have been around to see how some of them grow up, and I tell you, it's like I'm watching a horror movie. Seeing all these toddlers with iPhones and having consoles like a PlayStation or an Xbox makes me sick to my stomach. These kids are not going to learn how to be responsible of anything they have. I sound like a broken record, but I hate millennials. I'm one. I hate myself. I'm not going to be one of those people who say, oh, I wish I was born in the 1960s. No, that's stupid. People were just as dumb back then as they are now. The only difference is that they didn't have smartphones and amazing technology. I'm getting off track. A lot of parents suck. Let your kids earn some technology. You know, make them do chores around the house, tell them to mow the lawn, wash the car, get a job, go to college, get your degree, get a house, have a family, grow old with your spouse, then die. Only then will I give my firstborn son a smartphone. But Redhead, you're being irrational. Refer to my disclaimer. This is just one of many things that just rub me wrong with parenting. Not giving your kids attention, giving your kids too much attention, beauty pageants at the age of 4. No, I'm not going to get into youthful beauty pageants. Instead, I will leave you with this. No matter where you are in the world, in space, at an IHOP, in a box, with a fox, in a house, or with a mouse, don't eat green eggs and ham. Editors, please give me my outro for the last time. See you guys maybe never again.
Miss Lee, this is Agent Williams from the tax office. Our records show an unpaid balance on your account. If you don't pay by end of day, you'll be facing jail time. Well, the fastest way to fix this is with a prepaid debit card. Can you go get one now? Yes, and we want to clear this up. If you just buy that prepaid card, put $400 on it, then call me back and read the numbers to me.
The moment they ask for a prepaid card is the moment you know something's wrong. Think before you send money. Learn more at scamawareness.org.
Everyone give it up for our guest tonight, Brendon Donoho. Great to have you tonight.
Yeah, great to be here. I've done radio interviews, but this is my first video, TV kind of thing, so exciting.
That's awesome, yes. And I know you're a freshman here at MTSU, and you're majoring in audio production?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of fun, lots of really interesting classes. Better than high school, you know, I don't have to take history and junk like that, you know what I mean? I just learn about music all day long, so
that's great.
A little bit easier.
That's what I love about college.
Yeah.
And so what made you get started in music?
So I started, my whole family's musical, so, you know, it just kind of runs in the family. But my first time really getting into performing, my grandma works for Baptist Children's Home and Family Services, which is around our area in Southern Illinois. And she would take me as like a little 5-year-old around to different Baptist churches to sing old songs and stuff and raise money for them. So a little bit of child labor, but other than that, it was also a really good experience to get into music. And then as I got older, I just kind of started writing and doing my own work, so yeah.
I like that. And so did you come directly from Illinois to MTSU?
Yeah, well, I mean, I looked at some other schools, but I mean, obviously this is one of the top programs in the country, and so it was an obvious choice. And with it being close to home and with it being really close to Nashville, you know, it's just kind of an easy choice, I think, to me. It was a really good school and right where I needed to be.
I like that. And so I know you have a band too.
Yeah, so I'm also in a band, Temporary Tattoo. We just released our debut EP this summer. Did really well. Our single Rabbits is on Spotify. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, so this December we are going to start recording our first full-length record, which will be a lot of fun. No title yet. And then I'm going to start my own first full-length record. I've already started. It's called Horse. And then I've got my EPs that I've worked on. We've got some other EPs in the works. So it's a busy few months, but it's music. It's what I love to do. So it's not too bad being busy, I guess, when it's what you love.
Yeah, I agree. And so did your bandmates, are they all back at home or is there some of them here?
No, they're all back home. One of our bass player, Emma, she is actually looking at MTSU right now. Because she's in high school, she's a senior in high school. Everyone else is in college, and they're all still back home. So I have to, it's all I'm the one always telling them to get to work and get to practicing and stuff like that. Although it's usually me that's not doing things, so it's not usually me. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your band, I know it's more of a rock, and then you're more folk.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think rock music is more emotional. I think when you want to convey an emotion or make someone feel something. I think rock music is where you go because you can make noise and things like that. Folk music is more laid back and it's more about telling a story, and the emotion comes in your lyrics and the emotion comes in the story you're trying to tell. And I think that's the way it's always been, through Bob Dylan and John Prine and people like that. It's always about telling stories, which is what I really like about folk music.
I like that. And so who are some of your inspirations?
Jason Isbell right now, a fantastic new record this year. Really like all of that kind of the alt country, Jason Isbell and Chris Stapleton, Sturgill Simpson. Some older acts. I was also raised on like 90s real heavy stuff, Tool and that kind of stuff. That's where a lot of my rock influences come from. And then I also really like some older hip hop, Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, people like that. Ready to Die is probably one of my favorite albums of all time. And then some of the newer hip hop with Kendrick and J. Cole is really good, people like that. So work that into your music as well, yeah.
I love that, especially Kendrick. He deserves that Grammy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No Taylor Swift in the way to knock him out To Pimp a Butterfly. He deserves 2 Grammys to make up for the mistake they made not giving him one on his last album. But yeah, for sure.
It's definitely one of my favorite albums of all
Absolutely.
time.
Yeah, it's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah. And so do you try to incorporate some like hip hop into your music sometimes?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think everything you take in is an inspiration, with even movies and things like that. But I think with hip hop, obviously on some of my older EPs, there's one with Chance where I did Same Drugs, and I did Ultralight Beam on another EP, or I think on the same EP. And so I work on that. And then also, especially with people like Notorious B.I.G. or Eminem or Kendrick, they have really incredible rhyme schemes, and the way they link lyrics together is just very, very impressive. And I think the way music is now with the internet and things like that, I think even country singers, every single person needs to be well-versed in hip-hop and all of that kind of stuff, for sure. So
I like that. I like when artists can be really versatile and incorporate different genres into their music.
Yeah, I'm not much of a rapper, but I like the music.
Yeah. Nice influence.
Yeah.
Now, your shoes, they have an interesting story.
Shoes, yeah. So there's lots of writing on them. That's all dates of time. Every time I sing or play anywhere, perform anywhere, I write the date on my shoes so I can remember it. I looked recently. I think the oldest one is like early 2015, I believe, is when I started doing it. I was looking for it, but yeah, there's not much left of them. You can see my sock through this one, but it's I only wear them to perform though. They stay in my car and I just get them out to play.
Yes.
So yeah.
And definitely adding a date tonight for the performance.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll be adding a date tonight, and hopefully a few more coming up in the next few weeks. So yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And I know one of your songs you're performing, you have an interesting backstory.
Yeah. So the Last Hangman's Noose, which will be the last song I perform tonight. It's based on. I live near a town called Benton, Illinois, and it is a very, very small town. Not much of interest there, except that John Malkovich, the actor, his mom is from there. George Harrison from the Beatles' sister lives in Benton. And there's some really good restaurants. But it's also the home of the last public hanging in Illinois history. A man named Charlie Berger who killed or orchestrated to kill a mayor. And it was the last public hanging in Illinois. The gallows are still up in the square. And if you go to the town hall, you can still see the noose and things like that. It's a really interesting bit of history. And there's a restaurant called Seasonings, which is fantastic steak if you guys are ever in Benton for whatever reason. Right out the window, you can see the gallows and you can see where all of that happened. And so I wrote this song called The Last Hangman's Noose to kind of dig into maybe what's going on in the mind of, what it's got to feel like, not only to be the guy who kills somebody, but also to be the people who, as a family event, get out and go watch someone be hung. It's just an interesting change in the culture, and it's really fascinating story to me. And so, and also, it's a history that a lot of people don't know about because not a lot of people know about Benton. So I think putting it in a song gives us a chance to maybe get it out there a little bit more, Yeah,
and I love that because you have a connection to your hometown listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. I played in a bar in Nashville called the Commodore recently, and I met a guy from Ziegler, I think is where he was from, which is another very small town. I mean, not even 20 minutes from where I'm from, and he knew the whole story, and it was really, really cool to get to play that song for him because, it's a story that people around there, it's old news to us, we all know, but I think it's a really interesting story, and I try to look at it from a human point of view, you know what I mean, to understand the emotion that goes into it and things like that,
Yeah, I love that. Yes. Yeah. And so to find your music on Spotify or SoundCloud, where can people look that up?
Yeah, so SoundCloud under Brendon Donoho, you'll be able to find all my older EPs and stuff like that. There's some from, I was pretty young, so don't judge me too much on it. But you can also find Temporary Tattoo's single on Spotify under Temporary Tattoo. Rabbits is the name of the song. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. Brendon Donoho on Facebook and Donoho_59 on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find Temporary Tattoo on Facebook or Twitter. Well, not on Twitter, but Facebook or Instagram. And you'll be able to follow, when I'm performing next, when new music's coming out. And if you want, you can get like autographed copies and stuff of the EP through the Facebook page if you get in contact with them. So yeah, absolutely. Check it out.
Yes,
sure.
Definitely check out Brendon Donoho's music on social media, but also stay tuned to hear him perform right after this break.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
All right, this is a song about family. This is called Not As Sweet As Wine. She dances across the room in a dress of black and red. The color she wore the very first time they met. She dances barefoot to keep quiet. And as she slips in bed, he turns his head, a man with nothing left. He says, where were you? Begging her to lie. Where were you? You know this won't work if we don't try. And where were you when I tucked your daughter into bed last night? And with lips stained red, she just begs him not to cry. Blood is thicker than water, but not as sweet, not as sweet, not as sweet, not as sweet. Blood is thicker than water, but not as sweet, not as sweet, not as sweet as. Relieved he drops wadded paper into the trash. Swirls of red on white, he prayed to God would never come back. Buys his wife a rose with the last of his cash. Put it all on red, and instead it came up black. Where were you during Sunday morning breakfast? She says, where were you? I made the bed, how are you still so restless? We want to save you, but you're too proud to let us. And with lips stained red, he just begs for forgiveness. Blood is thicker than water, but not as sweet, not as sweet, not as sweet, not as sweet. Blood is thicker than water, but not as sweet, not as sweet, not as sweet as cracked lips meet in the dark for the first time. And she gives in to the warmth she feels on the inside. She'll have to live for 9 months with the scars of this night. As she packs her bags and turns her back on her old life. They say, where were you when we warned you not to give in? And where were we? We told you not to live your life in sin. And where is he now? Do you really think he cares enough to stick around until the end? And with lips stained red, they won't let her beg her way back in. Blood is thicker than water, but not as sweet, not as sweet, not as sweet, not as sweet. Blood is thicker than water, but not as sweet, not as sweet, not as sweet as wine, 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 wine. Not as sweet as wine, 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 wine. Blood is thicker than water, but not as sweet as wine. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so this, like I told the story earlier, this is a song about not my hometown, but a town that's very, very close to that. This is called The Last Hangman's Noose. It was a hot, sticky day in the old Midwest. A rowdy crowd cried out for his death. And with a noose tied around his neck, he Heard broken hearts make a heartless request. It's the type of heat that just sticks in your throat, like memories of a loved one you lost long ago. The certainty of facts that you just couldn't know. How quick you are to cast the first stone, and try as I might, I just couldn't muster the hate and regret to tie the noose so tight around the neck of a man that I had never met. There was dirt on his shoes when he walked into court. I wondered what he'd done and how long he'd be gone for. His little girl cried as they drug him away. Judge said, "You'll see Daddy on reckoning day." Well, I'd love to see that judge on his reckoning day. Try as I might, I just couldn't muster the hate and regret to tie the noose so tight around the neck of a man that I had never met, around the neck of a man that I had never met, around the neck of a man that I had never met. But my boy's hungry, can't feed himself. So I'll put Grandpa's Bible back up on the shelf, and I pray to his God I don't end up in hell, 'cause this noose is all I got to take care of myself. And try as I might, I just couldn't muster the hate and regret to tie that noose so tight around the neck of a man that I had never met, around the neck of a man that that judge never met, around the neck of a man that I never met. Thank you, guys.
Everyone give it up for Brendon Donoho. And that's all we have for you tonight, and thanks for joining us for MT at Night.